Smoke from the burning village drifted through the upper branches of the trees, carrying the scent of burning flesh and grain. The waters of the river foamed red with the blood of the fallen, and the knight's warhorses tossed their heads and snorted as they caught the scent of battle. Duke Bohemond of Baston, known by his warriors as the Beast Slayer, rode at the head of his knights down the rutted road of hard-packed earth towards the village. By daring to attack a community so close to his castle, the beasts of the forests were displaying a boldness that could not go unanswered, and Bohemond swore that every last twisted beast that profaned his lands here would perish. He saw a group of the bestial creatures armed with crude axes and swords loping towards a small building of white stone, adorned with bright cloths and gaudy ornamentation. A dishevelled woman in her night attire knelt before it in prayer, begging the lady for protection or salvation. "The shrine!" shouted the Duke. "They must not defile the shrine!" He raked back his spurs and leaned into the charge, bracing the flare of his lance against his breastplate. His knights matched his pace as they rode past the first victims of the slaughter, a woman and two small children whose bodies had been ripped apart by fang and claw. Ahead, the village's attackers bellowed in warning as the rumble of the knight's charge echoed from the valley sides. The earth trembled beneath the mighty warhorses' hooves, a rolling thunder that grew in power as their speed increased. The dragon standard of the Duke snapped and billowed from the banner pole, its colours bright against the darkness of the sky. The knights lowered their lances as their steeds covered the last few yards between them and their foes. The horned creatures howled their challenge, raising their shields and axes in defiance. With a crash of steel and iron, the knights smashed into the braying monsters with the fury of the Breton himself. Lances spitted the foul denizens of the forest on iron tips, and swords chopped down, hacking limbs and heads from furred bodies. Those beasts spared the initial slaughter did not survive the hooves of the warhorses, the night steeds thrilling to the scent of blood and battle, and lashing out with iron-shod hooves to split shields and skulls alike. The Duke rammed his lance into the belly of a massive beast with a horned head and dark fur matted with dried blood and filth. The impetus of his charge punched the creature from its hoofed feet, and it bellowed in pain, dark blood jetting from the wound before the lance snapped and the corpse was crushed beneath the Duke's warhorse. Bohemond tossed away the splintered lance shaft and drew his sword. It shimmered in the evening light, its ever-sharp blade blessed by the Fey Enchantress herself. He hated to sully its bright sheen with corrupted blood, but the shrine of the lady had to be protected at all costs. He wheeled his horse and charged back into the combat, beheading a monstrous beast with the head of a snarling bear. His knights fought with courage and honour, cries of "For the lady!" spurring them on to greater heights of heroic endeavour as they meted out vengeance for the fallen villagers and defended the honour of the lady. No quarter was offered, and within moments the ground was drenched in the foul lifeblood of the bestial creatures. The knights cried, "For Baston!" as the Duke's standard was raised high, and the shrill clarion call of the horn pulled them into formation once more. The shrine had been saved, but there were yet the beasts within the burning village to dispatch. The Duke smiled indulgently as the woman who had been praying before the shrine ran to him and clasped herself to his armoured leg. She pulled a ribbon from her hair and said, "Take it. It was touched by a priestess of the lady and will bring you victory." The Duke nodded, allowing the peasant woman to tie the ribbon around the hilt of his sword, but deciding not to chastise her for suggesting that he and his knights needed her paltry token to win this day. He lifted the sword high and walked his horse forward as frenzied beasts ran from the sacked village towards them. "Kill them all," he snarled, and as one, he and his glorious knights charged into the smoke and flames of battle once more.